Namaste, Hare Krishna. Second chapter, Sāṅkhye Yoga, Sloka 39. Esha te bhihitā sāṅkhye, buddhir yoge imāṁ śṛṇu, buddhyā yukto yayā pārtha, karma-bandhaṁ prahāsyasi. Krishna has explained Arjuna the knowledge of soul, the difference between soul and the body in detail, the properties of the soul, and all this thing is called the Sāṅkhya theory or the Sāṅkhya philosophy, which has been told by Krishna. And in this sloka, that's what Krishna is saying. I have given you this knowledge. Esha te bhihitā sāṅkhye. Given you this knowledge. And you got to use this knowledge in any action that you're doing in your life. When we have this clear understanding, then we should not be pulled by the mind game, which always tries to trick us in various emotional forms. And we don't want to be part of that game that mind tries to play with us. Manobhava, or the emotions, there are various emotions are there. And it's all just on the mind level. The Atma is separate from mind. Therefore, these emotions should not affect the Atma. For example, one thing that might have attracted us some years back may not even be any care now of the same thing. Or something we were very passionate in achieving in few years back, or some time back, in early days of our life, may no more be of interest to us now. Therefore, we should understand that this place where we live in is full of variation, keeps changing. Therefore, the things that are happening in our life sometime might bring us happiness, sometime might bring us distress. Sometime because of bringing of happiness we feel blissful, very joyful. Some events might bring us sadness. Therefore, should not be concerned about that which is going to affect our mind, because the Atma is separate from that. And even the victories and all those things we saw, it's just on this mental sense level. Again, Atma, there's no victory or there's no loss. Of course, there's loss and victory for the Atma. If we don't make the life successful, then it's a failure for Atma in this very life. And if we return back to God, then it's a success. That is important for us to consider, but not the material gain, loss, happiness, and pleasure. So these are the things you should understand. Arjuna, actually, for message for us, that this place where we live is just like a station, a railway station or a bus station or an airport, whatever it could be. It's just a station. And we should know that we are not here forever in the station. And this is not our destination. Our journey is going to continue. We don't want to settle down in a station. We are here on a transit, in other words. So when you're on a transit, or if you're driving on a highway, you take a exit to spend some time in a rest area, that's not going to be a permanent destination for us. We got to get back to our track. Our destination is something else. Go back to God, Krishna. So we have to get back to the highway. And we need to direct our journey in this highway, spiritual highway, with proper guidance. Especially, and most importantly, the guidance given by Krishna in this great literature, Bhagavad Gita. This is our guide. We can have a wonderful experience by following this guide. Wonderful experience living in this very world. Right now, we can be happy. And the next world, the spiritual world, that is waiting for us after we leave our body. And nowadays, things like a lot of messages we see or hear that do not text while driving, do not drink and drive, or sometimes we get advices that do not drive after having a heated up fight or an argument. All the safety guidance are given. So one can go to the destination without having any accidents. Likewise, we need to also follow the advices of Bhagavad Gita given by our supreme, compassionate, merciful Lord Sri Krishna, so we can also have a safe drive. Or that doesn't mean that we are not going to have surprises while we are having a journey, life journey. By reading Bhagavad Gita, even if we have surprises in our journey, it's no more going to be a big surprise, because we already know who we are and the surprises are expected. So we can be prepared to face and be balanced and composed when events happens on our journey towards Krishna. Yeshate bhihitā sāṅkhye buddhir yoge imāṁ śṛṇu. Now Krishna is telling, now that I've explained to you the Sāṅkhye philosophy, let me explain to you the buddhi yoga. Now just having that knowledge, Sāṅkhya knowledge, is not going to be sufficient. Well, it's a good start that one has stepped into spirituality, knowing that I am Atma, I am not the body. That's a good start. But one has to also understand now how to execute that. Therefore, Krishna is going to saying that, let me explain to you how one to execute that knowledge in action. Having knowledge becomes fruitful only when that knowledge is practiced in one's life. Otherwise, computer is full of knowledge, but what practices does a computer do? It's just a machine. Likewise, I can also have a knowledge, but what am I doing with that knowledge? It's going to be of useless unless I execute that knowledge in my life, practice those knowledge in my life. Therefore, this will help one to be free from the continuous material entanglement and get liberated. So, the key point to understand is the action or the activities and the knowledge has to go hand in hand. Just having knowledge but not executing the knowledge in action is no good. Second point, doing action but with no understanding or knowledge is also not good. It's not going to help one in any way. They both have to be applied. One does an action with proper knowledge. In other words, say it in another way, one has to have the proper knowledge of the action he or she is performing. All these days, we have been doing activities that has been dictated by our body and mind. Now we wanted to train our body and mind to do those actions that are prescribed as per the Shastra scriptures. So there is only one slight difference, that is our activities are not stopped. We have to perform action, but the activities should be based on what has been recommended in the spiritual literatures, especially in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna himself. Once we have the clear and strong understanding that we are not the body, we are soul, two things are happening. One is our eagerness to wanting to see the Atma increases. Number two, wanting to get out of this situation permanently, the material entanglement permanently, and go back to Krishna. And based on these two important goals in our life, whenever we do any action, we always try to remember the purpose of that action that we do is for these key points. Number one, in short, wanting to see Atma, myself. Number two, wanting to see Krishna. This knowledge, while doing any activities, will bring in clear consciousness, bring in purity in oneself. With that said, Krishna will now tell Arjuna and all of us about the working process, buddhi yoga, karma yoga, in other words, how one can perform that action, what needs to be done, in what consciousness. Yesha te bhihitā sāṅkhye buddhir yoge imāṁ śṛṇu buddhyā yukto yayā pārtha karma-bandhaṁ prahāsyasi. Namaste. Hare Krishna.